Uh, My name is Sri Narasimhadas, MTech from IIT Kharagpur, specialized in Visual Information Processing and Embedded Systems from Electronics and Telecommunication Department. So last time I discussed about hardware and software part of COVID-19. So today we'll discuss who is the user. So now we saw the limitation of human science in even analyzing the hardware and software part of it. So now we need a higher science. Albert Einstein says, when I read the Bhagavad Gita and reflect about how God created this universe, everything else seems so superfluous. The statement of the greatest scientist in the history of modern science. Bhagavad Gita says, Manasastu yo buddhir parsastu saha. So above the mind and intelligence is the soul. And also, Brahman sarva bhutani yantra rudani maya. So the soul is seated on the yantra and it is driving this yantra. So it is mainly the soul that is the life-giving force for both the software, the mind, and also the hardware, the body. It is mainly the soul that is the origin of the feeling. It is mainly the soul that gives energy to the heart to pump throughout the life. So this feeling which is seen in the mind is very fast. For light, if it takes many years, the mind, it takes just a moment. So such a very high speed of mind is being digitized by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita into 3 levels. Dhyayato Vishan Pumsa Sangat Deshupadayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. While contemplating on the objects of senses, one develops attachment, and from attachment develops lust. So the soul, when it misidentifies itself with the matter, then it starts getting into wrong conceptions. And then the feelings of the soul is called as lust. So this lust is actually considered by people in this world as love. But actually it is lust. Love is only between soul and super soul. When soul places its love in super soul, then it will be truly happy. So when soul is back in touch with super soul, it is like fish back into the water. So presently soul is in a diseased state. Just like in a diseased state, when a person is in a diseased state, his body doesn't cooperate, his memory doesn't cooperate. In a similar way, when soul, which is the active force, when it comes in touch with matter, which is dull and dead, so then it thinks itself that it is matter, and then it starts worrying about it. So now this particular understanding is very important, which Bhagavad Gita gives. Because when we understand that we are not this body and we are a spirit soul, we'll be very happy. The birth, old age, disease and death is only for the body, not for the soul. Soul cannot be cut. Nainam chintanti shastrani. It cannot be burned. It cannot be moistened and it cannot be burnt. So the soul is na hanyate, hanyamane sharire. It cannot be killed even when body is killed. And it is shashvata. It has najayate mriteva. It has no death, like the way the body dies. The soul is completely transcendental. So now this particular conception is very important, which Krishna very lovingly gives in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna helps us in a motherly way through Shastra to come back to the true conception that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke. He's telling that we are all his Amsha. And Sanatana, we have no death. And we are suffering Prakriti Stani Karshati in this Prakriti. So Krishna wants us to come back to the true conception and be happy. So when we don't take to the Shastra, so then Krishna helps us in a fatherly way also, like through shock treatment of epidemic, so that by tough times when people start looking into the truth, then we come back to the understanding of soul. Like during this epidemic time, many people started looking into Bhagavad Gita, into Ramayana. They look deep into life, deep into the purpose of life. So this particular understanding of soul is very important. It gives us a very broad picture. So we saw loss of so many lives present because of the epidemic. But when you get this understanding of the soul, then you will not be so much worried that worried of forever. Because the death is nothing but change of soul's hardware and software to a different hardware and software. Nothing more than that. It is so simple. So that is one thing. And not only that, we understand that I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, and that particular understanding helps us back in touch with God. So these two things happen for oneself and for the outlook also. It completely changes our outlook. So, so there are two things. One is the limitation of the human science, even to analyze the hardware and software part of COVID-19, and the advancement of the higher science of Bhagavad Gita. So, the Vedas and the Upanishads, they are actually words of God. So, they are the absolute truth. And the science which we see in this world, it has a limitation, human limitation. So, because of that, the human limitation, it can only tell us about weather forecast, for example. But it cannot tell us the time forecast, which Bhagavad Gita tells us. Vedas tell us. Jyotirveda, which is a part of Vedanga, it told us about Corona. Already it is there in the Jyotirveda. And one small boy, Abhigyanand, he looked into it and he just told 8 months before it, before the coming of coronavirus. In August only he told about coming of coronavirus. So this tells about the time forecast aspect of Vedas and the higher science of Vedas. So the Vedic mathematics and Ayurveda, it is completely very advanced science. So the science, the medical science, for example, at present it can only analyze earth and water. But Ayurveda can analyze earth, water, fire, air and ether, Kapha, Pitta and Vata. So the point is, Vedas are higher science, and Veda is the server Ahameva Vedyo. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, the purpose of all the Vedas is to know God. So 15th chapter, 15th sloka of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling this. So Bhagavad Gita tells us the essence of Vedas. Sarvopanishado Gavo. If you consider all the Vedic knowledge and Upanishads as cow, the Dugdam Gitamritam Mahat. The milk is the Amrit of, the milk is the essence of Gita, Gitamrita. So one very amazing and satisfying news from Jyotirveda is that June 30th will be the beginning of the end of coronavirus. That means June 30th will be the beginning of the reverse count of coronavirus. I know it is up to you to accept it or not. If you accept it, you will be happy and peaceful. And so this is one of the advantage of the advanced science of Vedas. So the bottom line is the principle to accept words of God, whether it is the present situation of epidemic or any other situation. Actually, it is mainly because of atheism that the World War II broke out. If you see the secret of World War II, the survival of the fittest, the atheistic conception of Darwin, is the conception that Hitler had. And he thought that Germans are the ones who are supposed to rule the whole world. And he applied it and he saw the result of it. And World War III, similarly, the epidemic, which has been misunderstood as someone else has the origin. So actually there is a third element. And the purpose is also to manage the universal affairs as a whole, not just the human beings. To bring the humanity to sanity, that is the main purpose. Sanitize the consciousness of human beings. So these facts are very important to know, because these things tell us about the importance of coming back to the theistic conception, the importance of the theism, the sanity that theism gives, and coming back to theism is actually truly scientific. A true scientist actually believes in God. Albert Einstein believed in God, the greatest scientist in history. So now the purpose of whole knowledge, whole science of Bhagavad Gita, it concludes with soul coming back in touch with super soul and its happiness, ultimate happiness. So what happens when soul comes in touch with super soul? As I said, it is fished back into the water. It is in its true position, true constitutional position. So how to come back in touch with super soul? So again, Kalisantaran Upanishad tells, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam. It is only by the holy name of Lord Hari. And how to take name of Lord Hari? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So by this 16 word, 32 syllable Mahamantra, one comes in touch with God. So by that, the soul is back in touch with super soul and it is back home. And it is in a true happy position. So I conclude the discussion. So about the hardware and software is the soul, and soul misidentifying with the hardware and software, it is suffering in this world. And when it is back in touch with super soul, is truly happy. And the true science is to believe in the hand of God, hardware and software and soul and its relation with God. Hare Krishna.